Welcome to Full-Time Yoga Teacher Podcast. My name is Reka and I am your host. If you are a new or returning listeners, I just want to say thank you so much for pressing play and tuning in to this week's episode. If you're new to this podcast, this is a podcast I started 2.5 years ago where I get to interview full-time yoga teachers from across the world and learn from their journey of how they became a sustainable full-time yoga teachers. And I hope by sharing these conversations, I can give you, the listeners, some insights and inspirations to move forward in your yoga teaching career. I'm not trying to promote being a full-time yoga teacher is the path for everyone or it's the right path. I think it's a difficult path and it's definitely not for everyone. But if you are interested in being a full-time yoga teacher, or if you're just a yoga teacher curious about the story of other full-time yoga teachers, this is a podcast where I get to share their stories. So I'm recording this intro a little bit early in advance because the weekend before this podcast episode comes out, I am actually going to Santa Cruz, road tripping to Santa Cruz with my dear friend Jordan, because we are running half trail marathon in Santa Cruz. So that's about 13.5 miles with 2,400 feet of elevation gain. And we get to run amongst the redwood trees and forests. And I'm really, really looking forward to running with redwoods as well as visiting Santa Cruz. I haven't been to Santa Cruz in many years, so I'm excited to visit and eat some good food, camp, spend time in nature, trail run. It's going to be a great weekend. So that is why I'm recording this intro a little bit in advance. But I do want to make two announcements before we get started on this week's episode. The application for my mentorship program for yoga teachers is now open. So go apply if you've been thinking about joining the program. So the application for my program opens only 3 times a year because each module of the mentorship program is 4 months long. And I like to keep that container closed and familiar for everybody who joined the program. So I only open the application 3 times a year. So I hope you can join. The next module is starting from September 1st until end of December. So this is the last module of 2026. And when you join the mentorship program, you get amazing offerings. So every month we meet for yoga philosophy on Zoom, pranayama and meditation class on Zoom, community Q&A session on Zoom. We have practice teaching session on Zoom and in person. We also have monthly special topic workshop where either I will teach a workshop or I bring in guest teachers to teach. So what is confirmed so far for the monthly workshop is that first month, I'm going to teach a workshop on how to read bodies and recognize patterns. So a lot of skill sets, not only on how to cue, but choosing the cues according to what you're seeing in your students. And I think that is the main skill sets that many yoga teachers are missing. And these skill sets come with time, and more time you watch your students as you teach, you are going to gain the skill sets. But I'm going to be teaching you what to look for and what kind of cue is going to work for different body types. So this is the workshop I really like teaching, and I taught it last module and I received a great feedback. So I'm teaching this workshop again, this module, and we're going to be working on different poses this time around. Second month, I have a guest teacher coming on who is a surprise guest teacher. I'm not going to share the guest teacher yet, but she has been on a guest on my Full-Time Yoga Teacher podcast in the past. She is going to be teaching about subtle bodies, prana, and chakras in October. For the third month in November, I'm going to bring Ayurvedic educator and practitioner and teacher to teach us about Ayurveda. And December workshop is still to be determined. So we have amazing workshop lined up so far. And besides all this monthly meetings and continuing education workshop, I also try to organize social gatherings for the teachers. So we have a pop-up class where I'll be teaching a 90-minute yoga class with sound bath. And we're going to stay for tea and yoga philosophy discussion. We also organize group hike once per module. And probably in November, we'll do Teachers Giving. So like Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving, but we're going to do Teachers Giving where all of us can get together and do a potluck together. So I try to organize learning environment for yoga teachers as well as a space and time for teachers to get to know each other and create this sense of community. We also have thriving WhatsApp group where we communicate, and a lot of time you can ask questions on that WhatsApp group. We share upcoming events or workshop. We support one another, as well as a lot of people have gotten job opportunities from this WhatsApp group. So if you're interested in joining a mentorship program, I highly encourage you to join and apply. You can join from any time zones, any country. All the recordings are recorded. If it's in person, we usually will have live streamed Zoom portion added onto it, so you can be joining from your own home, you can be joining in person here in Long Beach, or you can watch the recording later. So I try to make this mentorship accessible to people with all kinds of schedule and different locations that you might be living in. There's no requirement on how much teaching experience you have. You can apply as long as you are currently in 200-hour teacher training program or have graduated from 200-hour teacher training program. I have teachers anywhere from somebody who just graduated from 200 all the way to somebody who's been teaching for 6, 10, 15 years. So no matter where you are in your teaching, I think you can find a value in this community. All that to say, application closes at end of August, so go apply. The link to application will be on the show notes. One more exciting announcement is that Karen and Karen is another yoga teacher. We led a yoga retreat in Zion National Park earlier this year in May, and we are leading another retreat in Zion next year, 2027 in May. So we are calling this retreat Wild Spirit Women's Yoga and Adventure Retreat. So there will be daily yoga classes, food prepared by amazing personal chef. The retreat center is located in the heart of Zion, where you can just walk out of the door, catch the free shuttle to the park entrance within 5 minutes. It's a perfect location to have a yoga and adventure retreat. And besides the park entrance and all the hikes in the park that you can easily access, we are also organizing canyoneering as part of the activity for the retreat in 2027. And we're just so excited to go back because Zion is such a special and magical place. We had an amazing experience leading our retreat there last year, and we received amazing feedback. So we cannot wait to lead another retreat next year, 2027. And we are adding canyoneering as an activity on the retreat that I am so excited for. So if you're interested, this retreat sold out really fast last year. So apply as soon as our registration opens, which is by the time you're listening to this, the registrations for people in the waitlist have just opened. So I'll put the link to put your name on the waitlist on the show notes for the Zion 2027 Yoga and Adventure Retreat. This is a women's retreat, and all the information you need will be on that link as well. So I hope you can join me and Karen on this retreat in Zion, or if you're interested in joining my mentorship program, that link to apply is on the show notes. Okay, enough announcements for now. Today, I'm really excited to welcome Reba Gray to the Full-Time Yoga Teacher podcast. Reba and I have actually known each other online for quite some years. We first connected through Annie Carpenter's online mentorship program during the very beginning of the pandemic. And ever since then, I've followed her journey as a yoga teacher online. We never met in person, but I feel like I know her just because we've known each other online for quite some years. Reba has been practicing yoga since the early 2000s, and she has built a teaching career across Boston, the Bay Area, and then eventually moving to Mexico, living in Mexico for 9 months, teaching yoga there. And now she has begun a new chapter of her life in a small town outside of Reno, Nevada. So in this conversation, we talk about building yoga career over many years, the importance of community and relationships, navigating the financial realities of teaching yoga, and the feeling of being on the hamster wheel, knowing when you need to step away and what happens when you trust yourself enough to make big change, even when you don't know exactly what comes next. I'm really excited for you to hear her story. So let's get started on this conversation, the interview I had with Reba. Welcome, Reba, to Full-Time Yoga Teacher podcast. I'm so happy that I get to have this conversation with you. Maybe for the listeners, I just want to quickly say I've known Reba since the pandemic time because we both took Annie Carpenter's online mentorship program at I feel like it was the beginning of the pandemic. So I feel like I've known you online for quite a bit. I follow you on Instagram and all of these things, but I feel like recently we kind of reconnected back on each other's path. So I'm so happy that I get to bring you on the podcast and hear your journey because you've been teaching for some time. So thank you so much for being here. Let listeners know, where are you from originally, and also where are you currently joining this conversation from?
I grew up in Maine, and I am currently in a small town outside of Reno, Nevada.
Maine. I feel like I've never been to Maine, but I always hear how beautiful the fall, the colors changing is in Maine.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Mm.
It's a really nice time to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also very cold in the winter is what I hear. So what brought you to move from Maine to the West Coast, and how old were you when you moved?
Yeah. So growing up in Maine, I grew up in a small town, about 4,000 people, and I always dreamed of Southern California, like beaches and palm trees and convertible. So because Maine winters are so long. And so that was really from a young age. And so when I was 13 or 14, my folks were like, "You're going to California." And I was like, "Yes." And they sent me to my aunt and uncle's in Davis. And I was like, this is California. So, but then I fell in love with Northern California. So it was always a dream to move to California. And I always loved the creativity that I knew. And then in the 90s, I loved listening to music particularly from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And just the creative stuff that was coming around that time. And so that was when I was, in my teens. And so it was always a dream to move back. And then I got to do it in 2010. So,
So you were there for when you were teenagers for a little bit in Davis.
Right. I would go visit. Yeah.
Oh, go visit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
just
eventually
visit.
you moved.
Yeah.
Okay.
At a later age. Yeah.
Okay. How old were you when you moved?
I must have been 30-something at that time. Yeah. Yeah.
And were you already a yoga teacher when you moved, or did you become a yoga teacher after?
I was already teaching. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your wanting to become, what made you want to become a yoga teacher?
Yeah. Let's see. I in my 20s just kind of bounced around, was doing the 20 thing, trying to figure out what to do with my life, and ended up going into the Peace Corps because I knew I wanted to give back after graduating from college. I was like, I want to do something to contribute in some way. But, I was only 20, whatever. And so then moving back to the U.S., I ended up living in Maine for a very short time with my folks, which was I got to get out of here. So just being 20-something and not wanting to live at home. So moved to Boston, Massachusetts, and then was working in a nonprofit Braille publishing company. So books for blind kids.
Oh, cool.
And I was surrounded by people that were just so very passionate about their work. And it was a cool experience. I think I worked there, gosh, I don't even know how long, but anyway, several years.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to have that passion. for working. So I was walking. I was living in Cambridge, Massachusetts at the time, and I kept walking by a yoga studio. And, this is after Peace Corps, and where you could walk into anyone's yard and just start having conversation and, pick the seeds out of cotton and just hang out and drink tea. And I really missed that because cell phones had come out, right? And I'm in Boston, and it's pretty much the exact opposite of West Africa. Like, it's so different.
What country were you in? What country were you in?
I don't think I mentioned that. I was in Mali.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For 2 years?
So for 2 years, yes.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was really lucky. My village really wanted to work, and I felt very safe. And it was before the uprising with the militia and a lot of really horrible stuff that happened after I left. So I was relatively safe. But anyway, so I'm walking by this yoga studio and kind of searching for that community.
Yeah.
Where in Boston, people are a little more guarded. Well, a lot more. Let's say a lot more. It's the urban setting and people are into their phones. And so anyway, I went in the yoga studio was hot yoga.
Oh, yeah.
This is Boston. And I was like, that looks nice in there. It looks so cozy. Like, I'm going to start, checking that out. So,
yeah.
And then just fell in love. And that was it, like 2002, maybe around then, 2003. And then, I was at that time, I don't think I had a steady job. So I was volunteering at the yoga studio, and I was like wiping the sweat off the floors and, doing that selfless service.
Yeah.
And I would get free passes to be able to take yoga. And it just evolved from there. I was like, oh, I'm going to train to be an assistant because I could never talk. I could, couldn't barely meet, just didn't feel comfortable talking.
Yeah.
So I'll just silently assist. And I love that about teaching, of course, mindful placement and of hands and all that. So but it was big. It was very popular in this studio. And and then I just started like finding my community, and I was like, these people are rad. Like, I love this these people.
Yeah.
Interesting and supportive and funny, and then I just started doing more training and more, and eventually got my 200 hour. So all that to answer your question. And look at me, I talk now.
Yeah. Curious about, you said that you would like to assist at the studio. So was the studio have like an assistant role who's not a teacher yet, but who is walking around the room assisting? Like, was that a normal part of the studio?
Yeah, sorry, I should clarify what I mean by that was hands-on assistant, right? So just there were in many of the classes, let's say many of the classes, there was one teacher and then 2, maybe even 3 assistants.
Wow.
If there were, almost 90 people in the room.
Wow.
And you would walk around and try not to slip and fall and, and just give people some loving touch. And
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And you could do that role without becoming a teacher yet, like before you take a 200-hour teacher training.
I believe so. It's been a while, so I'm trying to remember. But I'm pretty sure I did an assistant training, hands-on assistant training. And then it was a great way to start seeing bodies.
Totally.
And, of course, we're never assisting without permission.
Yeah.
But I loved it. It was
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You don't see that so much anymore. I never heard of studio who does that. That's really cool.
I know. Yeah, it is.
I feel like typically, in LA, because that's where most of my experience are. Like, if we are in 200 or 300-hour teacher training, then we are like assigned to one teacher who's our mentor, and we would like assist their class a couple times a week, or that was part of our requirement. So I remember assisting my teacher in that way when I was in my 300-hour teacher training. But that's really cool that the studio offered assistant even before the teacher training for people who were interested in assisting. And obviously going through trainings with that. But that's really cool. And it kind of also shows like how much yoga world has changed in a way. Like assisting and hands-on is it's becoming more of a taboo thing these days, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think for good reason. It's good to have awareness about this subject.
Totally, yeah.
Because, we all know why. And hopefully we know, and hopefully there's a shift,
Totally, yeah.
But I sure do for people, I have a friend who recently started practicing yoga, and she's like, for me, the visual input and the talking is a lot, and she does not always know where to place her body. And so when I assist her, she's like, I got it. It really lands for her. And that's the moment for any teacher that they're like, yes, it's like, yes. So, different things for different people, and what lands is so subjective. Yeah.
Totally. Did you have a movement background before? Like, did you play sports, or did you dance, or did you have other movement practices before you got into yoga?
I was in high school as a cheerleader for a little bit. And then I quit. And then I was never athletic. That was my brother. My younger brother was like the star, still is an amazing athlete. But my physical movement practices came much later in life. And I would say I did hiking. Being in Maine, hiking is amazing. But I wasn't much of a mover. I was kind of like just chill, like hang out with my friends and like be on the beach and, have a bonfire. And that was my teens and 20s, really. When I think about it, it's funny to think about how it is such a part of my life. Of course, I live it, but I was not athletic in my teens and 20s, really, early 20s.
And I'm curious about when you took your 200-hour teacher training, did you start teaching right away after graduating? Did you have another job that you were like kind of doing part-time, or did you kind of go full in? So like, what was your teaching like soon after you graduated?
Almost always working and teaching a little and dipping my toe in and being very slow with it. Very like, this is so scary. Yoga was not easy for me. I was not flexible. I was not a mover. I really wasn't a mover until 2002. A little bit, but so it was hard. And I think that's what I liked, the challenge. And of course, I liked the community, as I mentioned. So, sorry, what did you ask?
Well, what kind of job did you have? Or did you become a full-time teacher in Boston before you moved to California? Or was that like you were doing kind of many different things?
Yeah, I was starting to kind of volunteer teach definitely before I got my 200-hour, just here and there. And then I went to, I think, my level 2 training, so my second 100-hour training. I came home and I was living with my fiance at the time. And I was like, I'm quitting my job at the nonprofit. And he's like, okay, I'm going to become a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
So and then I started working at a wellness center that had acupuncture, yoga, and massage. And it was a really interesting place in downtown Boston, which I'm sure does not even remotely exist anymore. But they took insurance for a local union of hotel workers. So it was really, really cool because you'd see these people that are doing physical labor come in, get acupuncture, massage, and walk out feeling better. And I was like, wow. I think that sparked it. I'm not even like, I know that sparked it. And then later on came, it might have been, it was a little bit later on, I started going to the yoga studio. Maybe it was before that. I can't remember. But so and was teaching there on a regular basis because they had a small room that could only fit 4 people. It was perfect for me to get my feet wet.
Yeah. And that's so cool that they took insurance. But was yoga part of the insurance, or it was only acupuncture and massage that they were able to?
I'm pretty sure they only covered acupuncture and massage. And massage was more limited than acupuncture at the time. Now, this is in the 2000s, like mid to late 2000s, I think. And then the market crashed. Crash took a while for it to crash, but I lost that job. I was laid off. And then, and I was teaching, like, I can't remember even. I was teaching up in northern, not northern Massachusetts, but what is it called? North Shore a little bit. And around Cambridge and Somerville. And then, at the same time, training and then really trying to break into studios. And then in 2010, we decided to leave and move to California finally, because I think I had intended to move in the zeros. What do you call it? The aughts. I had intended to move, and then I met my partner and we moved together in 2010. Yeah.
And when you moved, was your goal and intention to be like, I'm going to make a living as a yoga teacher when I move?
When I landed in California, I was focused. I was like determined. I was very much like ready to teach.
Yeah.
And I think that energy translated, and I got gigs. Like I was teaching quite a bit. And then I think maybe a year later, I started working at UC Berkeley. I was there for 8 years working part-time. So I'm still half and half, right?
Okay.
I had my healthcare and healthcare for my partner through the university, which was amazing. 20 hours a week. That is amazing for a yoga teacher to have that stability, that steady income, so that you can be creative. And,
Yeah.
And it was UC Berkeley. I met amazing people.
What was the university job?
I started out at the School for Molecular and Cell Biology. So working for a PI that ran a lab. And then I think I was there for a couple of years. And then I was at the Graduate School of Education most of the time, I think for 5 or 6 years that I was there. It's all a blur, Reka, but that's what I think.
Were you teaching at a university, like teaching students in classrooms?
No. This was an admin position.
Okay.
Yeah. I did get gigs like teaching a sorority and around, but at that time I was also teaching at a studio across from the campus that had just opened, that was heated, and it's just the sweetest like mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
That was really one of the early ones where I started. And just still am in touch with a lot of those teachers today. And a lot of them are still teaching, which is so cool.
I love that.
I know. So 2010, 2011, they're still teaching.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you moved to California.
Yeah.
Or you said you were focused, you were like determined to teach, but then having that part-time job at a university was such a great, I can imagine how that can be nice. I feel like, I'm like a more stable income, even if it's part-time, but then that allows you to still have a little bit of time and freedom to go find teaching jobs around towns and cities.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty nice balance.
Yeah. Because California is expensive. At least Bay Area is quite expensive. And I always have had, been very cautious about money and have had probably money fear. And my former partner was in school for a lot of that time. And so, it was always nice to have that stability. Yeah. To be able to build my teaching.
Yeah. And how was it like teaching in the Bay Area, San Francisco, compared to what you were used to in the East, Boston?
Yeah.
How was it different? Like, how was it like to kind of start over in a new city?
It was so different because, I really was loyal to that studio in Boston. I didn't really explore a lot of other places because I was getting free, quote unquote, free yoga.
Yeah.
And so they never played music.
I love that.
I was so different, right? So I got to California and people are playing music. People are like playing, singing bowls and all the stuff. And I was like, wow. And I started going to Yoga Journal conference and it opened up my world to like Kundalini and just all like I got to study as a volunteer at that conference with so many teachers, and I was like, wow. And then the challenge of my career has been like, I love that. I love that. I also love that. Like, just all of it. It was so inspiring. And to get away, not, vinyasa is my first love. Mm-hmm. But to get away from just that one thing and to see like what's possible and how creative it can be, when people are just doing their thing.
Yeah.
And supporting each other too. Mm-hmm. That's huge. So, yeah.
I feel like, what year was that in terms of like yoga conferences?
Well, there was one in Boston, I remember I went to. So that was probably 09, 08. And then the ones in San Francisco were in the mid-teens sometime. I really can't remember the exact year, sorry.
But no, that's okay. I feel like those are like the peak of the yoga.
Really?
Now,
as we know,
of this like Western yoga like popularity peaks, like all yoga conferences where all the like amazing teachers come together and offer teachings and workshops. And I feel like I wish I was there during that time.
Yeah. It's so different now. And I mean, way back it used to be like you'd see someone with a mat, and you'd be like, "Where are they? They're probably going camping," It's like, and now it's like it's it's everywhere, and then it's also a lot, as you know, at home, so you don't always see people walking around with a mat. But yeah.
So how was it like living in the Bay, San Francisco area, trying to make a living as a yoga teacher, but part-time or just being out in the yoga world? What were some challenges and some amazing memories you have from that time?
Yeah. In Boston, I felt like, of course, I'd lived there for a little while, so I had a sweet practice teaching group. Mm-hmm. And I loved that we were all supporting each other. Mm-hmm. With that, we did that quite a bit. We had a little space that we borrowed. And then when I got to California, I didn't know anybody. Like I had one friend in San Francisco who's in a different line of work. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, how do I find my people? And it just took time. It just takes time, like with any new move. Mm-hmm. So that was challenging, not having that support. And that's why I really want to give you props for what you're doing, Reka, because this mentorship, I remember how kind of lost I was and imposter syndrome. Yeah. And, because my teaching really launched in Boston, but it really developed in California. And that was when I felt very alone and maybe some competition or some of that other stuff that we don't like to, we don't like to know that that's happening, but it does. It does. It does. It does. And I don't know if it's me being more wise. I hope I'm more wise, but I also feel like teachers are more supportive of each other now. And I think maybe that's just being around you.
Did you feel that? So you're saying now you feel more supported?
Yeah.
Supportedness in the yoga teaching world, but back then you felt there was more like competition and rivalry in that
I'm not sure if that's true, but there weren't, there wasn't this awareness of, or for me, I didn't have an awareness of yoga as a career and what things I need to have support. And I think a lot of that could be podcasts. Like there were a few podcasts about teaching yoga, but maybe it was more, and I'm not sure I have enough information to speak on this, but it felt like it was more practical, kind of like how to teach or this anatomy lesson or something. Yeah. And it wasn't like, oh, well, what about this that comes up in class? What about when someone takes off all their clothes and sits in the middle of the mat in Berkeley, California? What do you do then?
Yeah.
Because that happened. So, and just having that, kind of that support of teachers that are like, yeah, what we're doing is it's a little outside the mainstream. It's a little different,
Yeah.
What can I refer you as a teacher to this person? Can you refer, me? Because I like working on this,
Mhm.
somatic, whatever. So
Yes.
anyway, I feel that more, and I'm not sure if that's just that
Mhm.
teaching as a career has changed or if it's just that I have more resources now just from
Mm.
doing it for a while.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
really know. Yeah.
And were you teaching mostly like studio classes, or did you have like gym, private, corporate? Like what were some different kind of teaching job you had when you lived there?
So many different things.
Yeah.
One of my so several studios, let's say 4
Yeah.
studios, 5,
Uh-huh.
and then California Healthcare Foundation used to be in downtown Oakland. I would go in there
Uh-huh.
and teach. I had a
Oh.
lot of I started at Piedmont Yoga folding blankets just like I did in Boston,
Yeah.
and met a really sweet teacher there,
Uh-huh.
Sarah Janess, who, is now in Sebastopol area, who just was like,
Uh-huh.
"Could you sub for me?" And
Huh?
I was like, "Oh, yeah, I would love
Mhm.
to," you know? So things like that started happening,
Mhm.
and then more corporate things came naturally. I would say I had a
Yeah.
lot of good connections and a lot of good supporters eventually, but
Yeah.
probably mainly studios.
Mhm.
Yeah, while I was working part-time
Yeah.
at the university. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
did you ever only teach yoga in San Francisco Bay Area, or did you always have that part-time university job there?
Yeah, I quit the university job in
Yeah.
2019. Yeah, and then my marriage broke apart in 2020, and
Mm.
I broke my finger, and the pandemic hit, and
Mm.
it was, like, the worst year of
Yeah.
my life, I
Yeah.
think, for all those reasons and more.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
made you quit the job in 20? Were you
Yeah.
gonna plan to, I'm gonna go all in on yoga? Was that the kind of thing?
Yeah, my former partner got a job, like a steady job,
Uh, I
where
see.
we could switch over to their healthcare.
Mhm.
And it was like, yes, I mean, I loved working at the university. It was awesome. It was great.
Yeah.
But my passion I had found
Mhm.
was teaching. Like it was
Mhm.
like, yeah, I was becoming a teacher,
Mhm.
all this time. And so that's what I wanted to do full time. And I was getting requests and I was
Mhm.
having a hard time saying no. And I was
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, it was a lot like driving out. I started driving a lot more and commuting, and this was before the East Bay really, really blew up with traffic. Like
Uh-huh.
2010s, it was still like you could go around, get a parking spot, no problem, not get a
Yeah.
parking ticket.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's
Oh.
that. Yeah.
Okay. And then the pandemic happened, and you said
Yeah,
a
then
lot
the
of your like
pandemic hit.
personal life and
Yeah.
breaking your fingers. From whatever you feel comfortable sharing, like what happened? What was the pandemic like for you? Like how did your
Yeah.
teaching shift or became non-existent? Like how did you navigate the pandemic as a yoga teacher?
Mhm. It was a struggle because I moved 3 times that year. I was trying to teach with a cast on my arm.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was depressed. I was
Uh-huh.
not moving well, but I was still teaching online for studios.
Mm.
Yeah, and so I was lucky to have that support. I had
Mhm.
also I found a gig, like,
Mhm.
assisting with property management for a
Uh-huh.
sweet woman in
Uh-huh.
Oakland.
Yeah.
And so I kind of went back to half and half sort of
Yeah.
thing, but it
Uh-huh.
wasn't even that because it was so thin, like, the teaching was
Mhm.
so thin, and I was not one of those teachers that, like, immediately was like, "Online, that's where it's
Mhm.
at." I did not
Mhm.
embrace that. I cried,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
pounded my
Yeah.
shook my fists like, "I can't do
Yeah.
this." It was so I mean, I think I could have done it under better circumstances, but I was
Mhm.
not in a place to
Mhm.
eventually it came around and now I'm doing it almost every
Mhm.
day.
Mhm.
But I just had so much resistance to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. It seems like you're very resourceful with always like finding not only just yoga job but other jobs to make it work. Like you weren't just like stuck on I'm only gonna do yoga and that's it. But like you were always open and finding different ways to get creative to bring some income in.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I think I'm a pretty scrappy and kind of like, I love, I met when I was a teenager, I met my friend's dad was a lawyer in New
Uh-huh.
York, like big shot lawyer. Like
Yeah.
and just being around him and how he was like, "Yeah, I drove a cab. I did this,
Mhm.
I did that." And it really that meeting him and being up
Mhm.
in the skyscraper where his office was, and I was like, "Wow, he's done it all." I was like,
Mhm.
"That's a cool person who's
Yeah.
really hasn't." He's got all these perspectives of the
Yes.
world and how people are making a living and what it took to get him to that place, and it stuck with me,
Yeah.
you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, that thing, it just came to mind. So I think
Mhm.
I had good people around me
Mhm.
and then, yeah, also just being pretty driven.
Mhm.
When you're
Totally.
focused, you know what you wanna do, hopefully things come your way,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I that really happened for me in California, big
Mhm.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And how did you navigate through the pandemic? Like eventually things start opening back up, or were you still
yeah.
teaching? Like how did you transition?
Yeah, as I know, I was still meeting with my private clients online. I
Mm,
still am.
mhm.
So that continued.
Yeah.
Thank goodness
Yeah.
for them, for that connection with them. Um, yeah, because I was pretty isolated, I mean, we all
Mhm.
were, of course.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, and then things started to open back up. Outdoor yoga, I was doing some of
Mhm.
that and just kind of figuring out. And that was like 2020 was. Yeah, I mean, I was still doing side jobs, but I think I really started I really enjoyed my teaching from 2020, like 2021
Mhm.
onward. It was like,
Mm.
this is what I wanna do. Not to
Mhm.
say that I
Mhm.
haven't doubted,
Mhm.
because I have been like, "Dang, I really would like vacation time.
Yeah.
I would like healthcare that's
Mhm.
more robust."
Yeah.
As recently as this year, I thought I would quit teaching,
Mm.
honestly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Applied for a job out here in Nevada, didn't get a
Yeah.
call, got a call, did an interview, didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest, because
Mhm.
I think it was more just panic.
Mm.
So, sometimes when we chase money,
Yeah.
I think it doesn't work.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So no, teaching is what I love, and just getting to see people feel better is like such an honor and I love it. Yeah.
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 It's I don't know if it's okay with you. I wanna talk a little bit about thinking about quitting teaching, just because
Mhm.
that I could sometimes have that feeling too. Uh,
Yeah.
and, speaking to many yoga teachers on this podcast, like, a lot of people also have that thought. Not all, but a lot of people do, and some people do quit and move
Mhm.
on to another career, or some people will quit for a little bit and come back. So, like, what are some thoughts you had when you thought about quitting, or if
Mhm.
you did have a period of time you stopped teaching, and what brought you back? You kind of mentioned a little bit, we don't have insurance, we don't have
Yeah.
the retirement
Yeah.
plan. We kind of have to do a lot of those on our own
Yeah.
outside of work providing that for us. Do you want to share a little bit about any thoughts that come to you about that stuff?
I think not to be mean to myself, but I think I can be pretty expressive,
Mhm.
dramatic, maybe some might say.
Mhm.
So in 2024, I decided I was gonna cut everything.
Mhm.
My motorcycle got stolen in
Mhm.
Oakland, which, happens. I had a bad breakup. A lot of things happened, and I just was like, it's too hard. I can't do
Mhm.
this." So I made plans to move to Mexico, and in January 2025, I moved to Mexico, and I wasn't sure what I was doing, but a good friend of mine was like, "It'll lead to the next thing. If you don't like it,
Yeah.
it's gonna lead to the next thing."
Mhm.
And I was working in and doing really well in Bay Area, like teaching yoga. I loved
Mhm.
it. I didn't love the commute. I didn't love, yeah, just, having to make money all the time and renting. It was like, I'm like, I don't see an end to the hamster wheel. I feel like it's just gonna keep going and going and going. So yeah, tell me your question again. I'm so sorry.
I guess, this is actually just, you decide to leave everything behind and move to Mexico because you were tired of teaching and being in that teaching hamster wheel.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, I would be like, driving over to Berkeley or whatever and just be like, "Rawr," like, definitely. But then I get into the space, or I meet with my client and I love it. Like, I love it. There's nothing, I wasn't like, I hate teaching. I have strong feelings about our society, capitalist, all that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. But getting to Mexico, it was like, okay, exhale, like got rid of everything, sold everything, left the country. And then a couple of months go by. I'm still meeting with clients online.
Yeah.
But I really miss that in-person connection. So I luckily connected with a teacher there who happened to be moving to Puerto Vallarta.
Okay, yeah.
She was leaving Guanajuato. And so I was like, she asked me to take over for her. And it was the sweetest, most wonderful situation. It was a rooftop hotel. Yoga is LGBTQ. It's called La Jolla Azul if you're ever in San Miguel de Allende. Beautiful, beautiful people. I'm people that I still practice with today online. And that, it brings me to tears a little bit because I really had thought at the beginning of this year that I might quit. Like I said, they wanted to practice with me online. And that kind of it wasn't just them. It was, of course, it was me wanting to teach, but it really got me back into my dharma.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah.
I got a little goosebump hearing you talk about it. But I would love to hear a little bit more about your Mexico.
Yeah.
Just decided to sell everything and just leave. And without any plans of would I come back or would I stay in Mexico? You just decided to go. Did you know somebody in that town, or what made you choose that part of Mexico? Did you have saving that's going to allow you to stay there for a little bit? How is that kind of move? How did you make it possible?
Yeah, I had a little savings. I chose San Miguel de Allende because it is a strong expat community. I had lived in West Africa. I know how hard it is to be around no English speakers. So I was not, and I had no Spanish, zero. And I always wanted to learn Spanish. So I went to that town because it has a very good language school. It also has a strong arts community, amazing people doing. It's an interesting place, I'll say.
Yeah.
But that's why I chose that area. And my friend had lived there.
Okay.
And I did go visit. I went to Oaxaca and I went to San Miguel de Allende, and I felt more of a connection in San Miguel. The town is on top of rose quartz. That's what I heard. So it's healing for the heart, right?
Yeah.
That it's built on top. I mean, I don't know how much or anything.
Yeah.
But I know that that is true.
And
it's a soft, I think all of Mexico, if you can really get into that feeling of family and community, it is a softer place. It was so simple. And things like if I needed gas for my hot water and to run my stove, you'd listen for the song of the truck.
Yes.
And be like, okay, there they are. I'm going to run out with my $20. And it's not like you got to have a utility bill. You got to have a job. You got to have, it's so complicated in other places.
Yeah.
I was renting, which always makes it simpler, but things like that,
And how long were you there total?
I left so I was only there 9 months. I left in September of last year. Yeah.
So I'm curious about, there's so many, I have interviewed quite a few of traveling yoga teachers or yoga teachers who teach abroad, or And there are, I think, a lot of teachers who's listening, including myself, who's like interested in like, I would love to teach yoga in another country or travel somewhere and start a life somewhere and then like see if I can also teach yoga there. So like, what was it like for you to move to a whole nother country? It seems like it was a very like slowing down, pausing, nourishing and healing time for you. And maybe you weren't trying to like, I'm going to become a full-time yoga teacher here. Maybe you weren't, that wasn't your like priority, but you kind of did find yourself with a teaching opportunity. So how was it like to like move out there, and were you able to find a job, or I know you had an online private, what was like the visa situation in terms of being able to live there?
Yeah.
Anything about your experience that I think listeners will be interested in hearing.
Yeah, I got a book called A Better Life at Half the Price, and it really broke down the guy who wrote it is in Guanajuato City. Anyway, so I was like, Albania, Bulgaria, like I was looking, I was going far, and then I'm like, I'm not sure I want to go that far. Like I want to be able to come back and visit. And also Mexico has a 6 month, thing. So I knew that about Mexico. I'm not sure if that maybe has changed. I think they're clamping down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did my research. I landed on Mexico despite not having any Spanish. I knew that I would freak out if I didn't have any structure. So like I had registered for this school. Like I went to school 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, because I was like, I'm going to need some structure, which in hindsight was, it's fine, but it probably didn't help me to process what I had left, which was so much loving support, Sorry, I get choked up again when I think about these people, your communities.
Yeah.
They're just beautiful people doing really good things. And I left that. And when I left, I had a party and I saw people from all 14 years.
Yeah.
And it was so special. So anyway, that's all to say, I definitely had some grief the first several months and even now for leaving that. But I met, like everywhere, there's just cool people. When you do yoga, you're going to meet the sweetest folks. So, yeah.
I feel like, leaving, it's hard, right? You have your 14 years of life there, experience, community, students. But is there a part of you that still felt like this was the right thing? This is the right thing for me to do. Like, I just have to leave for now. Was there like an inner calling or kind of like intuitive sense that like you were making this right decision by leaving?
Yeah, it was absolutely the right thing. I grew up, like I said, in a small town, and now I'm in a small town. I think there's 26,000 people here. And I'm realizing how much that is in me. Like that is, I enjoy that. I enjoy bumping into someone at the nursery, and being like, oh my gosh, we did yoga together. Like, like that's so cool. And I get to teach yoga in my home. Like how lucky am I? So leaving the Bay Area, I still miss it. I still go back. I have a very good friend in San Francisco and a lot of community there, a lot of student friends that I'm still getting to know and that I know and that have gone on retreats with me. So I love to go back, but I think it was the right decision to just make the leap and do this big kind of risky thing. And it was like moving to California in a way, because I didn't have a job lined up in California when I left Boston. Had nothing, no plan. No, I mean, I had a plan, but it didn't have, and things kind of fell into place,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's lucky. I think it's luck. I think it's being resourceful, like you said. I appreciate that, compliment. And then having faith that it will work out. It does work out, even if it's not what you expected.
Yeah. I love that faith that it will work out. I feel like in the Yoga Sutra, we say like Shraddha, the faith. Or even like Ishvara Pranidhana, like surrendering to Ishvara. Like, and
yes.
continuing on your path. So
Yeah.
I'm curious a little bit about that. You have kind of talked about your life now and
Mhm.
the new place you're in, but maybe can you share a little bit from Mexico transitioning to where you are now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I was in Mexico. I knew I wanted to invest in a small property. I thought it was Mexico. I started looking and it started feeling more like I was being pulled back to the United States for many reasons, but it's, living abroad is amazing. I I feel lucky I've gotten to do it a few times, but it's not home. And I really it just was time. It was time. My heart was pulling me back, to being around friends. And so this was what I did. And I I looked at property. I was like, wow, these are beautiful places, kind of complicated purchasing. It's a little like, is this for real? Like $100,000 for a home? Like that exists. Is that real? Like that? Yeah. Yes, it is. It actually is. And there's absolutely no problem with it. People do it all the time. Mexicans and expats, like but that wasn't really, it didn't, it wasn't the reason. I just was being pulled back here. I don't even know. Yeah. Yeah.
So you knew you wanted to come back and buy something back in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, this small town had something that I could afford. And I was like, wow. Yeah. And landed here and honestly freaked out. Like anytime you move, right? Sometimes there's a little like, whew, what did I just do? And especially with something as permanent as property, you're like, oh my God, it's so quiet. It's so different than anywhere I've lived. It's the desert, which I don't really connect with the land that much, honestly. But it's like, I'm off the hamster wheel a bit. I mean, and I feel that pull of like I got to work harder to keep up with my expenses, and so it just is going back to that. Like it's like freaking out and then being like, it's all gonna be okay. Freaking out, it's gonna be okay. So yeah.
Well, when you just said like you're off the hamster wheel, like oh my God, like that I like sighed when you said that. Like I was like, because I sometimes feel like I'm on a hamster wheel, or maybe I feel like that a lot of the time living in LA and teaching. Definitely when I used to teach, I always say this on my podcast, but most I taught was 28 classes a week was my like most taught classes as a permanent classes. And then when I would sub on top of that, like I definitely hit 30 plus classes a week.
Wow, Rika, that is a lot of energy.
I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
I think these days I'm like 15, sometime 18, maybe 20, but
that's still a lot
compared to what it used to be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's all relative.
Yes, it's all relative. But definitely like these days I'm even want to be that busy anymore. And I'm doing my best not to get there. But then still feel like I can like, live and survive without having to feel like I'm on a hamster wheel. But so I totally understand when you said like you feel like you were living on a hamster wheel as a yoga teacher. And I think a lot of yoga teachers do, especially if this is like their main income, whether it's a full-time or not, if this is income they're relying on to live, especially in the bigger city. I think a lot of listeners can relate to that. So it kind of like, I sighed when you said you're off the hamster wheel. So I want to hear like, because I talked to you a little bit previously about like what you've been doing since you moved there, and it's a small town. There's not really yoga studio nearby for you, so like you've been doing a lot of things to try to like build something in yoga there. So like share a little bit about that journey.
Yeah. Can I also say the hamster wheel is not just my work. It's the energy of the city, right? It's frenetic. I mean, Bay Area is cuckoo bananas and I love it. And I think like a lot of people that live there, they're like, get me out of here sometimes. Yeah. They go out to, the ocean and it's like, oh, okay, my shoulders come down. I would feel that so many times when I left. I'd go to Joshua Tree or whatever. I felt my shoulders come down. So it's almost like, it's not just working as a yoga teacher, it's combined with that energy.
The city energy.
You're shaking your head like, yes. So anyway,
Totally. Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, what I'm building now, I'm rebuilding. I just get really like, I'm very like, yeah, I had my doubts back in March, as recently as March. Just was like, I don't know if I can make this happen. I have a lot more expenses being in the United States, and I can't just mess around and kind of, eat. There's no $1 taco stand,
Yes.
So yeah, I am just constantly curious about how to make this work, and joining your mentorship has been an amazing support. I just want to give you, again, huge props for that, because it's helped me, like, even just having someone advising you about social media stuff. It's like, oh, I can do this. It's that reassurance of someone wiser, someone that's talented. And yeah. And so then what else? Like moving here, okay, realizing I want to teach, partly inspired by my students in Mexico, and even UC Berkeley reached out, like a couple women there.
Yeah.
So, that were like, we want to teach, we want to take Zoom classes with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, amazing. Like, wow, it pulled me back in. And then me like going around Reno, a little printout that's like, hey, this is what I do. Here's my card, a packet of like, this is what like, I'm like, I feel like snake oil salesman sometimes, right? Where I'm like, this is good shit. Like, do this. Like, and people are like, I don't know. I'm not sure we have the budget for it. And I'm like, but you do. It's your healthcare. Come on. So some people are like, yeah. And some people are like, no. So I've had some yeses, probably not enough right now, but is it enough? Like, I feel it coming. I just need to keep focused.
Yeah.
And keep knowing that it's going to work out. It's, it's tricky. It's a tricky balance, isn't it?
Yes, totally.
We all know as teachers, I think. Yeah.
And I'm curious, because I know you do quite a bit now in terms of like, you have online classes, you have in-person classes, you go in and teach at different places. So like, what are some different things that you do on a weekly basis in terms of teaching yoga?
Yeah. This summer, I'm, working on booking the retreats. They're booked for next year. I'm really working on just learning more as much as I can, because it's kind of a quieter time for yoga, or people are traveling. It's more random, so it's like the time to invest in things like, what could I change on my website that makes it easier to read? What can I do in my newsletter? I don't know what you call that kind of work. That's more behind the scenes work, maybe? And less like physical, making connections, enjoying the flow of things, and not trying to reach for money really as the objective. Like, what is my intention? What is my sankalpa? It's community, it's connection. It's what sparked it to begin with, giving back and being in West Africa, and, just bringing people together, and being in Boston. So that's what keeps me coming back. So I love communities. I've found a studio that's half an hour away where I go teach once a week, and they're just this powerful, like mostly women, just killing it, and love power vinyasa. So I'm teaching power vinyasa. And then what else am I doing? I offer like mentoring one-on-one with newer teachers. I've done that a very little bit, but I feel like I have a lot I can share about presence and all that stuff. Yeah.
And you teach online, you said almost every day you teach a Zoom class.
Yeah. Monday through Thursday. Yeah. And I love that.
And these are the students that you met in Mexico, or students you had in the Bay Area. So like all the different part of your life that you've been, teaching, they're kind of like finding you to come take online classes. Is that how it's been?
Yeah. Friends pop in, so that from all over, like a lot of my friends are not here, Seattle, Portland, Boston, California. So Yeah, so that's been sweet too. I'm like, maybe we don't have time to chat, but we got to do some yoga together. It's pretty cool.
Totally, yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
do you still have an online private one-on-one client as well?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that had
yes.
stayed since the pandemic time from the clients you had in the Bay Area.
Since way back. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm very blessed and very happy to have that connection, that friendship.
Yeah.
Like, we've been through it all,
Mm-hmm.
divorce, injuries,
Mm-hmm.
sickness, health. It's like a marriage.
Yeah, yeah. But I
And sickness and
think
health.
that's so wonderful when you have a long-term private yoga client because you have gone through so much of your life together. Their life changes and your life changes, but then there's this something consistent that is yoga that continue to become like an anchor of your life, and somebody who's
so cool.
been there or who known you through these changes and both sides as a teacher and as a student. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. The students are like, they've seen my teaching evolve, right? And become more, I have a lot of physical therapy knowledge. Not a lot. I have a decent amount, as much as I can afford over the years to help, and so, yeah, the students that I have online, like they're the friends. I don't even like calling them students because they're like almost like family, and we've seen each other through heartbreak and death and, birthdays. Like, just, it's, so special to see each other's lives changing and bodies changing and having to adapt our practices. So, yeah. Yeah.
So beautiful. And
really
you
value
also
that.
teach from home. Like some of the photos I've seen you post, it's like you have a full room of students. Like, so tell me a little bit about that. It's almost like you're having a yoga studio from your home.
It's been a dream.
Yeah.
I almost can't talk about it. It's without, just very grateful. So this town has an active Facebook group,
Okay.
or several groups,
Yeah.
moms and the community. And so just kind of like being like, all right, I guess I'm going to put this on Facebook. It kind of scares me because it's my home,
Yeah.
So bam, 1 week, 14 people in my living room, which was way too many, but it was hilarious. And, so now I'm limiting it. And it's great. They just come in and they get to know each other and I don't have to go anywhere. It saves my energy for my teaching and developing my business and being able to, hopefully my business gets to a place where I can reach, underserved communities and be able to make it more accessible, more to more humanitarian causes and all that. Like I love my work with Love Your Brain. I, volunteer with them to teach their 6-week online mindset program, which is yoga for those with traumatic brain injury, stroke.
Yeah.
And it's a free program. And so I want to do more work like that, that really is, we all need yoga and there's a lot, it's powerful to see someone have resources that they didn't have before from that community.
Yeah.
Or, to be like, okay, that it's gotten a little quieter in my brain or something like that. So yeah, just to plug them, they do a 6-week free research-backed workshop for those with traumatic brain injury or stroke. It's free. It's international and it's really cool. It's a really cool thing. And then it's quarterly. So it's like July, October, like that. Yeah. And that's been some
really
of my,
cool.
I can't believe I haven't mentioned it yet because it's been some of my more, how do I want to say, just really special work, really like profound. But it's all like when you see someone, why you teach, like I know why I teach, but to see people feeling better or it's so powerful. So
yeah, that's beautiful. I know about the organization. Like I listened to podcast interview where they're interviewing founder or somebody from the organization before, and their work seems so, so great that the organization exists and are offering free trainings and workshop. And I didn't know you worked for them or volunteered and teach those trainings. So that's amazing to hear.
When I was in Oakland, I got a scholarship to teach for them, a scholarship to train to teach for them, and they take you through this program. So they still offer scholarships, or it's a very low cost training for teachers. And I would just say any teacher, it adds so much to your toolbox. It gives you this, for very low price, very low investment, is rich because they've been doing it a long time. Kevin Pierce is the guy that founded it. He was a snowboard, amazing, headed to the Olympics, had a brain injury, found yoga. This is like the short story. Found yoga and just saw the power of the practice. And now they're a force, for good, for it's beautiful. So,
okay. That makes me want to go visit their website and check out their
go check it out.
trainings.
Good. Yeah.
So I'm so inspired and impressed by your drive to build what you're building in this small town that you live in. And you haven't lived there for that long yet. You're pretty new there. And you have 14 people coming to your home to take classes. You're really building something for this small community. The town that you live doesn't have a yoga studio, right? So you're building that. And you're finding so many creative ways to continue teaching yoga and make this work as your love and passion. Obviously, we can hear that, and also to make a living as well. And I think it'll be interesting to hear from you. I think a lot of yoga teachers, especially for me living in the city of LA, a lot of new yoga teachers, they only think about working at a studio is the path. And so I love that you're doing all these different things to try to kind of build your own and even teach online, Zoom, from your home. So share a little bit of what has worked for you. What are something you learned along the way? What are some ways that teachers can start to think outside the box to teach in a way that's outside of studio? Studio is great, but there's more out there.
Yeah. I think I said before, I've gotten pulled in different directions, and I have been fortunate and resourceful to have people ask me, hey, would you want to teach yoga for runners? So there was this amazing ultra runner Olympian who would do the running part, and I taught the yoga. And so I got pulled into that for years, doing retreats out in wine country and in Marin, and and so it's noticing what's coming into your consciousness and what you're drawn to. And at the time, I was not a runner. I'm still not really a runner. I know you are, but I'm not. I'm more of a hiker, or I like yoga, I like climbing. So it's I think that's really important to notice what is being requested. Students have said oh, do you do teacher trainings? And I'm no, I never have, and I would like to. The thought of writing a manual, all that, that's big time. Not really drawn to that, but people asking me, where are you going on a retreat? When are you going to do a retreat? I had a student years ago who just kept nudging me. Her name's Kelly, and just kept asking me over and over, when are you going to do a retreat? And then I finally did a weekend retreat on my own. I had, collaborated before that for years, but doing on my own, I was no way, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So that is big, noticing who's requesting what, and then what are you drawn to, of course, is very important. Because if someone's hey, do you want to run a teacher training? And it's a hard no, you'll know, don't do it. Or a studio approaches you that you don't, you're not drawn to teaching there, or there's not love there. Sounds a little woo-woo. I'm one woo. I'm a one woo person. I told my friend, I'm one woo. If a studio there's no love, do you know what I mean? There's not loving care, they're not cleaning, or something is off. Notice that.
Yeah.
And don't try to love it back. That's my wisdom. That sounds deeper than I meant it to, but yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, like I said, I am going old school around Reno and have a packet that looks very professional. And I'm like, hey, this is what I do. What about offering this to your community? And if they're like, yes, then that's happened. And I'm like, okay, this is the price. And trying not to do it for the price of massage, like they always say.
Yeah.
And just, getting creative, I think. And what community do you want to serve? And can you teach, yoga in Spanish? Like I think someone that was part of your podcast. I'm sorry, I can't remember their name. Yeah.
Claudia, I think. Yeah.
Claudia, sí. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I love that. I love that tips of like follow, interest you, but also paying attention to what are some opportunity that's coming to your way, or like what are some like nudge and suggestion that's coming from your community, and listening to that, but also listening to what makes you excited about it.
Yeah.
And also what you said of even studios, really paying attention and listening to what is this a place that's right for me to work at, or is this a place that's nourishing me to work here? And even like what you said of going around with your flyers and your business cards and really reaching out and doing outreach to different companies or community organizers to see if they want to offer yoga. I think all of that are such a good tips. And you kind of just mentioned a tiny bit, but I feel like it's worth stating that you said that like the price of the massage in wherever you are living, and kind of matching that with your yoga offering. Like, can you say a little bit more about that? Because I think for some people, that's the first time they heard that.
That's what I've heard over the years is we have invested our hearts and our wallets into these trainings. And I know so many teachers that are still learning. They're always training. My friend Dashana, she's like, what am I going to learn next? And so just to know that it's not like a traditional job where, you're like set. Once you got the job, you're in there. I mean, nothing is permanent, I guess. Nowadays, less so. But just heard that. And I think that's good, but I think it also depends on the community. Like, because like I said, snake oil, I'm like, I'm definitely charging way less than I quote unquote should for my in-person classes, because I'm trying to grow it, right? And I want people, and I even want people that don't pay to come. Like, I'm like, can you help me move the furniture? I'll give you a deal, because it's like, I just want you to do it. I just want you to come move your bodies and feel better. Like, that's really it, I mean, of course it's a spiritual practice. There's more to it than that. But the price of a massage, I think it's got to know where you're walking into, like, a corporate office that really has the budget for that. So, yeah.
Totally. I think I've heard Jason Crandall say, like, check what's the going rate for a 1-hour massage in your local town.
Yeah.
Find the ranges of like somebody who's like really, I don't know, niche down and experienced massage for person versus like maybe brand new massage therapist. You can kind of get the range.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a great number to start with or think about if you're offering private 101 or corporate. Maybe you can charge a little bit more than what that rate of massage would be, just because I feel like company has more money or budget.
Yeah. I think all teachers, part of moving here, I started substitute teaching in the schools.
Yeah.
And I could not believe how hard it is.
Oh, yeah.
To be a teacher.
Oh,
like a school teacher. I feel like all teachers, should be paid way more than what they're getting paid. They put, like, if they're good, my friend that teaches high school science puts her heart and soul into it, asks the students what they want to learn, like, just cares so much and is not compensated for her energy. And that's, we all know this, but it's the same with a lot of industries where, So I think it's worthwhile for a yoga teacher to be like, this is what I'm worth. Go a little higher even than what you think you might get, because at some places you will get it.
Yeah.
If you get it quickly, you probably have gone too low.
That's true. Good point. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess to wrap it up, like what is your dream or where do you see yourself? Are you kind of more, do you feel like you're more permanently based there and you want to build in this location where you're at? Do you want to have your studio someday or do you want to do a retreat? Like I'm curious, like where are you headed or where do you want to go?
I never wanted to have a studio. I really admire the people that run yoga studios. I think it
Yeah.
is so hard. There's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never wanted that. But now I'm like, well, I don't know. If it serves more people, then, and I can make it happen. But I really like collaborating. I like that more than just being like, hey, me, my retreat, my book, my yoga class. So I hope to collaborate with more organizations that can, and I don't even know what that is because right now I'm just in building mode. But I want the yoga to support me comfortably so that I can give back, so that I can really do whatever. And if that means volunteering at a treatment center or whatever it is,
Yeah.
that will, the yoga will come from me because they'll be like, what do you do? And I'm like, this is what I do. And maybe someone will hear it and it will, so it doesn't really, I don't know if it even matters what I'm doing, like do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, if the yoga can sustain me and what I've this, home, then I can do more that serves other communities. That's the bottom line of that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like I hear that from this whole time you sharing your journey. There's a definitely like underlying desire to like want to serve underserved communities or you volunteering your time teaching for the organization. Like there's desire that you have for that. And you kind of have been doing that in a small scale alongside your teaching career. I get the feelings that you obviously love teaching and you're passionate about it, but you want that to be able to support you offering services to maybe community who may not otherwise have access to yoga.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why the ambassadorship is so cool because, it helps for Lululemon. Like they see you doing what you're doing out in the community and they want to, give you some sweet deals on clothes, which is very nice.
Yes.
But more importantly, it's like, what do you really want to do? Yoga for people that have gone through breast cancer, and they'll fund that, So programs like that, I think are so wonderful.
Yeah.
That was like a little exhale of being like, oh man, because, we have to look nice when we're out there and professional. And so to have clothing that's, nice. So it sounds so simple, but it's like that was huge. That was huge to me.
Yeah.
So
and
wait, then
yeah. You were a Lululemon ambassador?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you didn't share that part of the story.
Yeah.
Where was it? In the Bay?
In Berkeley, yeah.
In Berkeley, how amazing.
Yeah. However, I moved to Mexico kind of during it. And then a lot of the employees kind of left. So it kind of, I didn't get to do the good stuff. I did a lot of good volunteer work and out in the community, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey. Is there anything that I don't know, I haven't asked yet or that you still feel like you want to share to the listeners about anything from your journey of being a yoga teacher?
I feel like I want to interview you because I'm just always so fast. I've always read biographies. I love people's stories.
Yeah.
It just is so fascinating to me how we move through life, and I can't think of anything. I
feel like you shared a lot of your journey and your story was really beautiful to hear. And you even shared like not only the good, but the challenging part. And I think that's so important for people to hear who's listening to the podcast. And you also offered a lot of amazing tips and things for us to think about in terms of like how can we get out there more, or how can we find different teaching opportunities not only inside the studio but outside? And I feel inspired by your resilience, like moving to different city, different country, and moving back and teaching again, especially when you move, like you move almost like you're not starting from zero, but there's a part of like you have to rebuild again whenever you move different locations. So I think you're so brave for doing all of those things. And whenever I hear all the things that you're doing or you have done, it's very inspiring. So I'm sure listeners
Thank you.
listening to this is also inspired by your stories.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a thought about that. Just, I mean, it ties in with what we've been saying, but you know how you show up for your class every week, especially when you're in studios and you have and it's always like, you just keep showing up, and it can, when you just cut all that, it's, it's just so different to kind of step back, take time off if you can, and then, just see what comes up, or even just sub out your class once in a while and not have anything that you have to do, which I struggled to say that because there was a lot of, the rent is due. Gotta teach. If I don't show up, I don't get paid. Like, so it's such but anyway, it's kind of a tangent.
Yeah. But I definitely agree with you that maybe not everybody can afford to do that, but I would work, say 28, 30 classes a week, but then I'll take a couple weeks off and travel to I work hard for a certain time so I can take a little bit of chunk off to kind of pause from that hamster wheel. It can be super, I think, helpful for people who kind of have a job like ours. It's nice to take a pause or kind of step back.
Yeah. The creative, it's like the Erykah Badu said, like, that's the creative download, right? When you're just, you don't have a lot going on. Even if it's just a few hours, I think it can, for those of us that can't afford to take vacations, big travel, just to like get quiet and see what comes up. Yeah.
So true. And sometimes have hard time giving myself that pause and just do nothing. These days it's so hard with like social media or phone. There's like so much information. There's like we don't give ourselves time to be just bored. And sometimes when we can just like be bored and not have anything to do is when like creativity might start flowing or ideas might come to you. Or not. But then I think that it's important to give ourselves that time, even like for like, let's say you said a couple hours.
Yeah. I struggle to say that because I know that a lot of yoga teachers are women and they're caretakers, and it's hard to have that time. It's like time.
Yeah. That's a good place to wrap up this interview and a conversation. Maybe it'll give people some ideas and thoughts to give themselves even just a time for a couple minutes or 10 minutes a day, whatever it is that they can get.
Yeah.
But let the listeners know how they can find you. How can they reach out to you if they want to, or maybe join you on any of your classes or upcoming retreats or offerings? So how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. My website is rebagray.com, my name. And that's where I put all my retreats. I'm going to Costa Rica in March. And then I have a retreat in May on Lake Tahoe on the Nevada side, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
And it's all on my website. But that's the best way. Contact me through my website.
Okay.
Or social media also, of course, Instagram. I always had it set as private. But now it's anyone can follow me. Like, really good businesswoman. Didn't realize that. So
well,
hilarious.
I will make sure to link your website and your Instagram on the show notes so people can easily find you and connect with you if they choose to. Thank you so much, Reba, for coming on and sharing your stories. It was really fun for me to have this conversation with you.
Thank you. I hope it provides something for the greater good. And teachers reach out always. I'm so glad to be a resource. Thank you. Thanks, Reka.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast episode, the interview I had with Reba. I hope you got something from this conversation, maybe little tips, maybe little inspiration, or maybe just a little nudge to get yourself out there. Thank you, Reba, so much for coming on to the podcast, as well as it's been such a pleasure having you be part of my mentorship program this past module, and I can't wait to continue to support you in the mentorship program, as well as continue to learn from you. So thank you so much, Reba. Like I said earlier, when this episode releases, I have just come back from my road trip and camping trip from Santa Cruz, running my half marathon trail in Santa Cruz. So if you want to see how my race went, go follow me on my Instagram. I'll be posting stories and reels about my race in Santa Cruz. So my Instagram is at Reika Yoga, REIKAYOGA, and my website is www.reikayoga.com, and you can stay connected with me that way as well. And if you visit my website, you'll be able to join my newsletter, and I send out newsletter twice a month, typically on the new moon and full moon of each month. Sometimes I'm behind schedule and I don't get to send my newsletter on time for the new and full moon, but that is my goal, is to send out a newsletter about twice a month. And that's how you can stay connected with my upcoming workshops when mentorship opens or retreats are coming up. So mentorship application link is on the show notes. Like I said earlier, application is open right now, and it's only open 3 times a year, and the new module starts September 1st. So I highly encourage you to go apply now if you're interested in joining the next module. And the yoga retreat that Karen and I are going to lead in Zion National Park is happening, and you can put your name on that wait list. It is May of 2027, and it is Women's Yoga and Adventure Retreat. We'll be doing yoga every day. For those of you who want to go in the park and hike, you have plenty of time to explore and hike, and we will also be organizing canyoneering trips for the group, which I am so excited for. The information on the retreat will be on the show notes as well. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share this podcast with your yoga teacher friends, your yoga buddies, or anybody you think might also enjoy this kind of podcast. I have an exciting news that I'm going to be announcing in the next episode, so come back and tune in again in 2 weeks. I release an episode every other Monday. So I will talk to you again soon, and stay tuned for my exciting news. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.